All right, everybody. My name is Paul Ura with the National Weather Service office here in Austin, San Antonio, technically New Braunfels, Texas. We're going to begin our 2 p.m. Saturday winter weather briefing. Thank you again for listening in today. We have a lot of important information to kind of cover. A few kind of just logistics again. This is being recorded. I will again, probably within about an hour after we're done, have a copy of that, basically a YouTube link for the recording, as well as the slides. I'll create a PDF for the slides that'll all go out to everybody that's basically on our partner list, etc. Also, make sure toward the very end to pay attention to the main points. I'm going to reiterate on checking the forecast frequently, multiple times per day between now and early next week, as things like this always kind of change very, very quickly. And the next briefing will be at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon as well. Okay, so with that, let's get to the important updates. We went ahead and we issued a winter weather advisory. More details on that over the next couple of slides. We are expecting possibly some travel impacts from freezing rain or drizzle. That's basically possible, mainly on Sunday night all the way through the first part of Monday. And the front will arrive as early as this evening for the northern portions of South Central Texas. The main points: Arctic front will be arriving this evening across the north. When I say the north, Burnett County, Williamson County, Lee County, that sort of area, will push through the region overnight tonight. So by the time everybody wakes up tomorrow morning, it should primarily be cold. A winter weather advisory has been issued for much of South Central Texas. I'll show you the map for that here in a second. Basically, because we are still carrying about a 20 to 40% chance of light freezing rain or drizzle that could be accumulating up to about 1/10 of an inch during that time frame. Travel may be impacted, especially on bridges, overpasses, and elevated surfaces, especially obviously where those totals may be highest. And where we think the totals will be highest is mainly along and east of Interstate 35. I'll kind of again show you some maps to kind of give you a better idea of that. Arctic cold will stay in place all the way through Wednesday. Hard freezes are going to be likely Monday through Wednesday mornings, with the potential of at least 60+ hours of freezing temperatures in some locations. Some places out in the hill country could go all the way until basically mid-morning on Wednesday before they kind of get really back up above freezing. For some other areas, you may get up to like 34, and then literally in a couple of hours in the evening, drop right back down below freezing. So even for places that go above freezing, but in the Monday through Wednesday timeframe, it's only going to be like 1 or 2 hours. It's not going to be anything significant. Wind chill advisories will be needed during this event. Wind chill warnings are possible. We'll talk more about that as well. Okay, so what about current conditions? I just captured these temperatures off the map. You can see single digits up in the Texas Panhandle. We have 70s down in the Rio Grande Valley. The front is literally right on the doorstep of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I just checked radar. You can kind of see it coming in from the northwest. So well below freezing already to the north. We're going to kind of enjoy our last warm day for quite a while. So get your all preparations kind of finished. The high pressure region is actually still up here in the northern United States, Montana. That high pressure, again, this Arctic plunge is actually be coming down, and this is where the cold air is actually coming from, and will continue to come from over the next several days. The timing of when the front will arrive. So could get, again, as early as about 6 or 7 o'clock, start to get into portions of Burnett and northern Williamson counties of South Central Texas. Officially, we have basically going through the Austin area at around 9 p.m. and around the San Antonio region about midnight, and then obviously going all the way down to the coast already by probably about 6 a.m. So northern part in the evening, middle part of South Central Texas right around midnight, and then exiting the far southern regions all the way down there, Maverick County and Eagle Pass or whatever, already by probably 5 and 6 a.m. On Sunday morning. So it'll push through rather quickly. Okay, let's get to the meat of this, where we talk about how much ice we think is going to accumulate. this is kind of one of those situations where we definitely have the cold air in place. It typically doesn't work that way with our ice events. We're typically always around freezing. We think there's going to be, we know there's a bunch of rain coming across. Well, now this one is kind of opposite, to where we know the cold air is in place, and we have this little weak sort of disturbance that's going to be coming across primarily tomorrow night into Monday morning. And so the issue is that, well, how much is that disturbance going to be able to wring out some moisture, some drizzle, some light rain? So we do think it is. The majority of models now are at least showing something kind of falling, right, as far as drizzle and light rain. Most of the models are still having not very much actually accumulate. It's going to be still very windy. It's going to be very, very dry as well, with really, really cold temperatures. So we're still very unsure about how much was actually going to accumulate on elevated surfaces and bridges. But we're confident enough that we think we are going to have some of those sort of impacts, that we did issue the winter weather advisory. On the right-hand side here, you can see all the counties colored in purple. It's basically from Uvalde up to basically Leakey and Concan eastward. So you're including the entire Interstate 35 corridor, all of the I-10 corridor, and all of 281. So basically the majority of South Central Texas, excluding basically the Rio Grande. We don't think we're going to get any precipitation significant enough out there by Eagle Pass or Del Rio to warrant any sort of advisory. So we do think there may be some accumulations here. Again, I think our worst case right now is only 1/10 of an inch. But as we've seen in multiple different winter events, this is where we have it right now. It's going to be in effect from 6 p.m. Sunday all the way through noon on Monday. There is a chance, and there's always a chance of this, that if we get a little bit heavier sort of precipitation, especially like in the I-35 corridor, that we may have to upgrade this winter weather advisory to maybe a winter storm warning. We don't anticipate that right now, but that is plausible because we've had to do that before. So we're going to watch the weather, we're going to watch the models, we're going to watch the current conditions, be situation aware with looking at traffic accidents, webcams. Please, as a partner, pass along any sort of ice accumulating pictures or reports that you have on our Slack, or send them directly to our email. So we are also basically in tune of how bad it may be, or how it's not getting as bad as maybe we thought. So that sort of ground intel will actually determine probably whether or not we stick with the advisories, or we may have to go up to possibly even a winter storm warning if that is warranted. So what are the chances of actually getting more than 1/10 of an inch of ice? As you can see in this map here, here's Austin. San Antonio is down below. You can see these colors of yellow and light green. This basically equates to anywhere from about a 5 to a 20% chance of getting more than 1/10 of an inch of ice. This is coming from our WPC group up in Washington, D.C. With our headquarters. This is their winter weather guidance. You can kind of see where the possibility is higher is up in Northeast Texas. So as you go north and east of Austin, that's where the chances are going to be increasing of maybe seeing a little bit more ice than what we think we're going to be getting here. So I just wanted to show you that, let you know that it's not a 0 chance, but there is a small chance that we could be getting more than 1/10 of an inch of ice. But the better chances of that are well to the north and well to the northeast in that portion of Texas. And we will continue to watch this sort of guidance. And again, upgrade if we have to, or just keep our winter weather advisory as need be. Okay, let's get into the temperatures. We've talked about this before. Honestly, not much has changed. I'll show you the maps here for Sunday low temperatures, well below freezing already into much of the I-35 corridor, all the way down to San Antonio by the time you basically wake up tomorrow morning. So it's going to come through rather quickly and drop those temperatures. And you can see the rebound for Sunday afternoon, not much. Northern half of South Central Texas, basically north of Interstate 10, probably not getting above freezing. And if you do, 1 or 2 hours, and that is it. Monday morning, low temperatures well into the teens, into the hill country. Everybody else probably into the 20s. There's still going to be a pretty decent wind. Warming up on Monday, especially it's going to be cloudy, right? We're going to have that chance of light freezing drizzle, light freezing rain all the way through the morning. So again, not much rebound anywhere north of Interstate 10, likely staying below freezing. Maybe again, 1 or 2 hours where you may touch 33 or 34. but for the most part, we think we're just going to remain cold. You can see that, you know, the areas that are least going to be affected are basically way out here by the Rio Grande from Del Rio down to Eagle Pass. Well, they'll actually maybe get into the 40s. On Tuesday morning, this is probably where I'll show you a map here in a second, where we'll probably have the highest wind chills, but as far as air temperatures, well into the teens for much of the region, and then low 20s, dipping all the way down into the coastal plains of Texas. Again, not rebounding much. So a few more areas, because of sunshine, may actually be getting above freezing at this point, but areas out in the hill country probably still below freezing at this point. And then finally on Wednesday morning, as of right now, will probably, as of right now, be the coldest morning. The high pressure will actually settle in, no wind or very, very less amounts of wind, and that'll allow for very good, what we call radiational cooling. So clear skies, light winds, really, really cold Arctic air, and Wednesday morning may actually be our coldest temperatures, well into the teens across much of south central Texas, including probably touching the teens or low 20s all the way out to the Rio Grande. Good news, the thaw will actually come very briefly, but on Wednesday, the high temperatures should reach into the 40s, maybe even to the lower 50s. So for the areas that would be below freezing the entire time, Wednesday would be the day that you would probably then step up above freezing for the first time. Hopefully it'll be before that, but in these sort of scenarios, yeah, it could go days before you kind of get above freezing again. Okay, let's talk about wind chills for a second, because yeah, we're going to have some low wind chills even tonight as the Arctic front pushes in. But the coldest wind chills will actually be Monday morning and then also Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning actually probably being the coldest, where we could see several areas below zero in wind chills. I will tell you that our criteria for a wind chill advisory is 10 degrees or less. So we will probably have to issue that. My bet is that probably tomorrow, the forecasters will be making the decision to probably issue some sort of wind chill advisory for Monday. And then we may have to upgrade that to a wind chill warning across, especially maybe the hill country at least, and portions of I-35 corridor by maybe on Tuesday. So again, keep watching the forecast. We're going to keep doing these daily briefings. I'll let you know what we decide to do, but it looks like that's pretty likely that we'll have to issue at least wind chill advisories by Monday and Tuesday. Again, the best website to go to is our website, where you can click directly on the map where your jurisdiction is and get the hourly forecasted information. It's called weather.gov/forecast points. I'll leave it up for a second so you can take the QR code, but you'll also be getting these slides where you can get directly to the website. I will say if you go directly to this website, the default is Duluth, Minnesota. So don't be too freaked out by those temperatures that you see. You need to scroll down and look at the map down for Texas and click on the map in Texas to get the actual cursor where you want the temperatures to be. So yeah, please avoid looking at the temperatures in Duluth, Minnesota right now. To wrap it up, main points again, winter weather advisory has been issued. It goes all the way out until Monday at noon. It'll be in effect technically from 6 p.m. Sunday tomorrow through noon on Monday. Again, travel impacts are possible, mainly elevated surfaces, overpasses, and bridges. Highest totals likely along and east of 35. This Arctic air, we've talked about it, will be in place through Wednesday at least, with hard freezes. I will add too that we will probably go ahead and issue some hard freeze warnings for probably those Monday and Tuesday and probably Wednesday nights as well. Still trying to figure out maybe which counties to include with that, but it's going to be widespread cold, really, really cold. Probably some actual records that will be breaking too, especially those high temperatures of the day. There'll be record low high temperatures. Check the forecast frequently. And the bad news is that more cold is actually on the way at the end of next week. Look like in that Thursday, Friday timeframe, another Arctic front will actually be coming through. Still too early to tell if it's going to be any colder than this one, but Arctic air is Arctic air, so we have to be really prepared for that. Also, if you want to be pushing out good preparedness graphics, this is a great website. Again, a lot of graphics ready to go. There's also some websites on this link that actually has things for Facebook and for X and some of the other social media accounts, the graphics, and then also like what to put. So the words, pretty much almost like copy and paste, can really, really help. So great resource to have. And by the way, we have these sort of websites for summer information, springtime thunderstorm information, all that. So we have great safety graphics already pre-made. So that's where you can access the winter weather ones. And wrapping it up, our final slide. So again, next briefing will be on 2 p.m. tomorrow. Contact information is on the far right. And at this point, I'm going to stop and I'm going to allow you to ask questions on your chat feature. So if you do have questions, please pass them along. I'm going to issue the one is what is the criteria for wind chill advisory versus warning? Derek, yeah, so it's 10 degrees for a wind chill advisory. And then if we see that the wind chills are dropping below 0, that's where technically we would do a wind chill warning. There is some wiggle room for us with that. If there's just one observation site within a whole county that may be below 0, maybe we'll still keep it as an advisory. So, but those are technically for coordination purposes. That's actually what we use, 10 degrees and then 0 degrees. So yes, the next briefing is actually tomorrow at 2 p.m. at this exact same time. You're right, I have the wrong date right there. So, sorry about that, I figured I'd mess something up. Some concerns this winter precip could be like last year's ice storm. Just confirming it looks like travel hazards. Yeah, so there is nothing right now in the models that show that this is getting anywhere near the amounts of ice that we had last year. So the majority of all the models have literally that 1/10 of an inch or less. And so, yeah, as of right now, it is just not shaping up to be anything like we saw last year as far as that horrific ice storm with the tree damage and everything else. It can change, it really can. And that's why we tell you to be on these briefings daily and everything else, because as soon as the models change, we'll start pushing that information out. But as of right now, no, it looks to be, I would describe it as more of our typical sort of ice threat sort of event for South Central Texas, where we kind of have to wait and see. How long would you expect any ice accumulations to stick around? That's a little bit tough to describe. So let's say that we do have 5/100ths of an inch or even a 1/10 of an inch of ice that kind of gets that falls and gets coated on some things. The wind that we have will help to basically supplement that or evaporate some of that ice. The sun should start to kind of come back out already by, I think, late in the day on Monday, and then definitely by Tuesday. So to me, I think it should be a fairly, especially if there's a very light ice amounts, it typically happens this way, is that it shouldn't really honestly stick around very long. So I think that's kind of good news on that. Please repeat the timing for precipitation entering the area. So officially the advisory, which kind of mimics when we think the precipitation will start, officially 6 p.m. tomorrow on Sunday, going all the way to basically noon on Monday. Okay, so just shy of 24 hours, basically an 18-hour window. Now, could some of the drizzle and stuff start a little bit earlier than 6 o'clock tomorrow evening? Sure. And if that's the case, then we may have to kind of increase the time or bring or start the winter weather advisory a little bit sooner. But that's our best guess right now, is basically 6 p.m. tomorrow all the way until noon on Monday. Okay, so that answers that question. Estimated time for the precipitation, just went over that. Okay. I don't see any more questions coming in, so kind of 1 or 2 more seconds that I'll let someone type in something. And if not, then a quick reminder again, it's being recorded. I'm going to send the recording out to everybody. And then what we're going to do is I'll do the slides as well and send and blast that out as well. So with that, again, take care, everybody. Get those preparations done. And we will see everybody tomorrow on the webinar at 2 o'clock for another update. Thank you.